Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining in from. First of all, I want to say thank you for joining in on this webinar today. We're grateful that you could join us at this moment in this webinar. There are 8,001 places you could have been at this moment, but you decided to spend the next 60 minutes with us this moment. Thank you very much for joining. And I would like to welcome you once more to the webinar, and which is titled How to Get into AML KYC Compliance in 2026 within 3 months. Okay, so let's get to it. Uh, Tonight is not just about breaking into AML, okay? It's about understanding how hiring decisions are actually made in 2026. Okay, whether you're starting from zero or you've been an analyst for years, the rules are the same. Okay, you either become job ready or you remain course or training heavy. So, um, with that being said, I guess we can go straight into what we have for today. So, by the way of introduction, my name is Mavis Osumbo, and I'll be your facilitator for this particular webinar. A little bit about my journey. I am a compliance consultant, so I've had the opportunity of working within the traditional financial institution or financial within the traditional banking system, which is your regular banks. And I've also had the opportunity of working the within fintechs like cryptocurrency exchange company, payment exchange companies, and so on and so forth. I've even had the opportunity of working with educational institutions as well, working as a compliance officer. So I've had the opportunity of working as investigation analyst, KYC analyst, policies and procedures analyst. So I have gone through the rank of an analyst to become a consultant where I work with senior management to interpret policies, build systems and procedures for the team. So that is a little bit about what I have done in this career and many more that I've done in this career. And this webinar is coming to you from Northoka Consulting, where I am one of the lead consultants at Northoka Consulting. So back to the topic that we're discussing about how to get into AML KYC in 2026 within 3 months. One thing you one thing you must understand, or one thing I would like everyone to understand is that there are two main parts that you can use in getting into AML, KYC, or any other professional space at all. There are two main parts. So there are unstructured parts or a structured part. So when I mean unstructured basically when you see people take random courses, self-studies, those things might be good, those things might be valuable. However, you can spend months upon months and months. I've seen situations whereby people spend months upon months in trial and error, or you can follow a structured development where you get a structured um, framework on how to get into the space. So, with that being said, the truth is that part of what you benefit with having a structured framework is that the you have the fundamentals, you have the applied analysis, and you also have the you have a feed. You get the opportunity of getting feedback when you followed you followed a structured path. So moving forward, again, like I just explained, the cost of no structure. So when you're trying to figure this thing, okay, I'm trying to figure it out by myself without a structure. There are things you pay, there are things you pay, or there's a cost for it. So first of all, it's your time. You spend more time trying to dig in to get a result. You There is some level of stagnation in the sense that you don't know if what you're doing is right or if what you're studying is right. Then there are rejections. For instance, you start sending out your resume. You are applying on different platforms and you're not getting any response. So that itself would erode into your confidence, which will thereby bring down your confidence level to even go ahead to keep applying. So in order to in order to avoid all of these turmoil, like running up and down, trying to figure these things out, I think I would choose to go the structured way where I get feedbacks, I get directions. So with that being said, let's get into what we are for today. And the question, uh, the ultimate question is, what is AML and what is KYC? Okay, what are we really talking about when we're talking about AML and KYC? So I'll simply put AML stands for anti-money laundering, while KYC stands for know your customer. So within the next 20 to 40 minutes, we'll be going through what they actually mean and how they exist and why they exist. So we can simply put that AML and KYC is how financial institutions verify their identity, assess risk, monitor transactions, and prevent financial crime. So it is not paperwork, okay? It is a structured risk management. So with this being said, I would like to switch my screen at this point in time and play a video for us. It's just going to take, the video is just it's about 10 minutes, so that we can get to see what we can get to see the relevance of what we're doing. So just let me share my screen. Sorry if I'm looking at the other way. I'm looking at a different screen. Okay. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So let's start from the beginning.
That?
It sounded like a plane crash.
Hey, Beth. What is that? Somebody hit the World Trade Center or the...
It's a trade center.
The World Trade Center.
Yeah.
This just in, you are looking at obviously very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning.
As we come on now, we have serious news of a major, very tragic event right now. Incredibly, a plane crashed into the World Trade Center.
I just heard a loud boom.
I saw it actually.
You did? Was it a plane? That's what I was thinking. It was a terrorist attack.
Immediately, there's speculation or cause for concern. This is the World Trade Center that was the center of a terrorist bombing some years ago. So the questions have to be asked, was this purely an accident, or could this have been an intentional act? But either way, extensive damage has been done.
What's this other jet doing? What's this other jet doing? Holy fuck!
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Looks like 6, 7 floors were taken out. And there's more explosions right now. Hold on, people are running.
Hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion inside.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll tell you what's going on.
Right, oh my God, another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
If you read her up from under your seat, stay on page 153. At the count of 3, everyone should be on page 153.
Mom, another plane just crashed into the other World Trade Center. Another plane hit a jet, a jumbo jet. I'm so scared. I'm leaving.
No, I don't, Megan. You can't.
Bye. I love you.
Megan.
Mom, I don't care if I'm getting the phone.
Please wait for me.
We do have some videotape of the second plane, and you can see it there.
Where? I didn't see it. Oh, whoa.
This is crazy.
We're under attack.
Going into buildings.
From our vantage point, clearly difficult to tell.
We're under attack.
What type of plane that is, but it's a horrific scene.
All right, we've just been told also, Michael, sorry, the New York Stock Exchange is being evacuated, as is, I'm sure, much of Wall Street, if not all of it, as much as possible. But the New York Stock Exchange has suspended trading for the moment.
It's war.
Today, we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
David, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're looking at live pictures of the Pentagon where there is billowing smoke. Jim Miklashevsky just reported that he heard an explosion, and right now we're looking at an aerial view of the Pentagon.
There are reports the Pentagon has been evacuated, and the White House is being evacuated. Clearly, you're seeing now these pictures from Washington, D.C. as we try to start.
All of the airports across the country have been shut down. All flights have been canceled for another 7 hours, which is about 5 o'clock Eastern time, and then we'll reignite there. We'll take a look what's going on after that. The probability of extension, as they call that, is high.
Take 2. Take 2 and 2, 1. This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the 2 towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
I live. I hope I live. It's coming down on me. Here it comes. I'm getting behind a car.
Anthony, you okay?
Yeah.
Please. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Watch out. I got it.
No idea.
I'll tell you that I can't see that second tower, but there was a cascade of sparks and fire, and now it looks almost like a mushroom cloud explosion, this huge billowing smoke in the second tower. This was the second of the two towers hit.
Now this is what it looked like moments ago. My God.
The remains of a airplane crash over on Lambertsville Road, and probably had a terrorist bomb on board that blew up. I don't know anything more than that. That's what I heard on the scanner. I just saw the smoke come up, and the explosion shook the house clear over here, and we are, what, 15 miles from Lambertsville.
In Washington, there is a large fire at the Pentagon. The Pentagon has been evacuated. And there's, you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord. There are no words. We have a report that a 747 is down in Pennsylvania, and that remains unconfirmed at this point, and so we will check on that.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people...
Yeah, so welcome back, guys. I'll just go ahead and split the screen. So guys, you're all welcome back. Just go ahead and share my screen. So basically, this is what we face as AML analyst, KYC analyst. You can see the importance of the reason for this video was for you to see the importance of the job we do as a compliance consultant, AML analyst. The video you just watched was an attack, the 9/11 attack, the bombing of the Twin Tower, the Pentagon in September 11. So that attack was orchestrated and funded through money that were laundered and then used in sponsoring and supporting the act of terrorism. So now you see how important the work we do is. It's more than just getting a job to get the money to pay our bills, make investments. It's more than that. The job we do saves the society. It saves lives, because this is just one aspect into the job we do. There are other aspects that, like human trafficking, child trafficking, elderly exploitation. So there are countless numbers of illegal activities that generate proceeds that criminals launder in order for them to be able to use them successfully. So with that being said, you see why regulators of financial institutions, they are very strict when they lay down regulations, policies that financial institutions must uphold to, and why those financial institutions must uphold to those policies carefully. And you see how it cascades down to your role as an analyst. So what you do is very important. So with that being said, let's explore the topic of anti-money laundering and KYC. For those of us that don't really have a good understanding or a good understanding about what it is. So let's explore it and see what AML and KYC is truly all about. So now I would want to start with KYC. What is KYC? I would want to start with KYC. What is KYC? So KYC, like I had earlier mentioned, is know your customer. This is when a financial institution collects or gathers the information of every individual they want to do business with or they want to onboard into their financial institution. Let's take, for instance, an individual wants to open a bank account for pick anyone. You want to open your bank account, you walk into the bank and they ask for a piece of ID. So what they are asking for, what they are checking out for is your name, your date of birth, your address. So basically these things are referred to as personal customer identification information. So the reason for that is that because they want to understand who you are, and they ask you questions like, what do you intend to do with this bank account that you're opening? some cases, you probably see it's going to be for payroll, or it's going to be for be for payroll. Basically, I want to be receiving salary. I'm receiving salary through these accounts, and they would also ask, what are you going to be using the account for? So you're probably going to say personal expenses and mortgage, rent, car insurance, life insurance, and all of those things. So the reason they are asking all of these questions is so that they can understand who you are as an individual. So all of this explanation I just made, similar thing happens when big corporations want to open bank accounts with. We open a bank account. It could be a bank account. It could be other products. It could be loan account. It could be purchasing of precious metal. It could be mortgages. It could be equity. There are a lot of products that big corporations they use, and then that they do request from financial institutions. So when they are requesting for that information, so that aspect where the financial institution is dealing with big corporations or businesses, we refer to that aspect as capital markets. But when they are dealing with you as an individual, we're talking about retail markets. So for the retail markets, most times those things are mostly automated, or probably those parts, there are different ways we go about those parts. But for the purpose of this training, purpose of this webinar, we'll be focusing on the capital markets, where this is where financial institutions spend more resources in order for them to be able to understand who are the owners of these accounts. Is this or who are the owners of the company that wants to open an account with us? When we talk about that, we're talking about beneficial owners. Then we're talking about who are the individuals that have control over this company. Who are the people that are making decisions about this company? So you collect those informations, and when they collect those information. So on my slide here, I'm basically explaining the concept of KYC and why it is important. So they collect all of this information, and they do perform different research on them. So when I mean research, they are verifying the names, they are verifying the primary place of business. They are verifying their source of wealth. Where are they getting their funding from? So all of these things happens within the KYC space, and that space alone, you have people that work in that space, and they are referred to as KYC analysts. And as you can see on my slide, so they basically initiate KYC, they perform CDD, which is customer due diligence, EDD, enhanced due diligence. That is when the customer probably has high risk. So then make decisions. So all of these parts, they are all key functions within the capital markets investigations or analysis. So people get employed in each of these aspects. Why some other organizations, they employ just an individual to conduct some of the process to put together. So performing name screening, conducting risk assessment. So the reason they conduct risk assessments is to understand when they are conducting risk assessment, they are basically checking to see if the individuals associated with that company, if they have any negative news associated with them, probably if they've had suspicion of money laundering before, if they've been involved in any illegal activities that before. So they check for all of those things, and those things would affect the risk rating of that company or of that business. For the purpose of this conversation, we refer to them as entity of that entity. So they're checking for the risk rating. By the time they are done checking for the risk rating, then the risk is being applied to the company, because all financial institutions, they have what we call a risk appetite. There's a level of risk that a company or a financial institution can accommodate. And when it is above that, then the decision can either be we can't do business with you, or we can do business with you. So all of these, there are different things there are different, there are standalone opportunities to get a job in all of these. And they are broad topics we cannot exhaust all of this topic here. So moving forward from KYC. So now let's talk about AML. What is money laundering? First of all, what comes to your mind when you see this picture, see these two gentlemen? So you can see that both of them, they are performing the same activities. Okay, the same activities. The motive between what both of them are doing. They are the same. However, what the activities that is leading to what they are doing, it's different. So I would explain. So you see this other gentleman, he took his clothes to the laundromat or the laundry machine to wash them. And why will anybody take their clothes to the laundromat to wash? It's basically the clothes they are dirty, and it could either be oil, it could be sweat, it could be anything that's on those clothes. So now, because those clothes are dirty, this individual is not proud to put on a dirty or smelly clothes. So in order for this individual to be able to put on that clothes to go out in society, to associate with other people, he needs to take it to the laundromat, put it into the laundry machine, and wash the clothes. By the time the clothes come out, you won't be able to smell any bad, offensive smell from the clothes. You won't be able to see any dirt on the clothes. Now it is clean. You can't tell what was on that cloth before it went into the machine. Similar to the concept of money laundering. Funds are being generated from different illegal sources, criminal sources. And in order for that criminal perpetrator to be able to associate themselves with that funds that were generated from illegal activities, they need to launder these funds to clean the source so that they can be able to associate themselves with these funds that have been generated. So and there are different procedures by which these things occur, and that is what we as analysts or consultants focus on to detect. So simply put, what is money laundering? Money laundering is the illegal process of making large amounts of money generated by criminal activity, such as drug trafficking or terrorist funding, appear to have come from a legitimate source. So basically, that is what money laundering is all about. So how do we detect money laundering? Before you can detect something, you should understand how that particular thing works. So simply put, you should be able to think like the criminal. So there are three stages that are involved in money laundering cycle, which is the placement, layering, and integration. So the placement is when they place the funds into the financial institution, just the way you see the young man putting the clothes into the washing machine. So when you put the clothes into the washing machine, the clothes does not just wash itself. So you need to add soap to it, and depending on the type of stain that was on the clothes before you put it inside the laundry machine, then you probably want to, if they are white, you want to add bleach to it to make it clean. So then you want to turn the knob to white, or you want to put it to top towel or beddings. So there are different categories that you're going to put it, because those categories will make the clothes come out clean. Okay, so the same thing a criminal cannot take their funds and go into the bank and say, I want to deposit these funds into my bank account. And when they are asked, how did you get these funds? Then they will say that I got it by selling drugs or trafficking human. No, they won't say that. Instead, they need to find a way to circumvent the system. So the process of doing all of those things, it's called layering. So they are finding different layers upon layers to hide the actual source of that front. Then the last stage is the integration. So the integration is basically they've successfully layered the funds into the financial institution. They need to take these funds out of the financial institution and spend it in legitimate business, buy properties, buy luxury goods. So at this point in time, you can hardly detect where these funds came from. So these are the stages that are involved in the money laundering circle. So where do we come in as analysts? Financial institutions have different transaction monitoring systems that have been set up by different countries. So when a certain pattern of transaction occur that does not match or match the known information about the customer, just like I told you, like I explained before, that when an individual went into the bank and they ask the individual, what do you want to do with this bank account? And they probably say it's for payroll and all those things. So when transactions deviate from what is known, so there is a transaction monitoring system that will trigger those transactions. And when it's been triggered, then that is where the analyst comes in. So there are different phases of being an analyst. So there are the triage or the detection team. So these are the guys that, first of all, they check the transaction, the transaction that had occurred, or the triggers. They check to see if the red flags or the trigger events, if the deviation is really much, or if it's just something that, okay, probably this guy said I'm supposed to be receiving, let's say $20,000 monthly, and the person is receiving 25 or receiving 30, and the account triggered. Situation like that, those first guys that detect it can easily mitigate and say, okay, you know what, I think this transaction is valid, or this transaction matches the customer's profile. They close it at that point. But if they think that it does not match it at that point in time, then they will have to escalate to the next level. So when it gets to the next level, there are other analysts that would have to then spend time to look and investigate thoroughly and go deep into investigations. That's where they ask themselves some certain questions, the investigator critical questions. So there are different concepts that is being built in order for them to come to a conclusion whether the transactions are suspicious or not. And if they find the transaction not suspicious, they would still close the case and document properly to give reasons why they are not suspicious. However, if they are suspicious, then they would have to report to the regulatory body, which could be either FinCEN, FinTrack, FCA. Like they go ahead and make those reports depending on the jurisdiction or depending on the country that you are in. So that is basically what you do as AML analyst. So these things are compartments that you have to study and practice these things in order for you to be able to master the investigator questions. So moving forward, now that we have a clear understanding of what AML and KYC is all about at the surface level, or at the deep level, because basically that's what it's all about. Any other thing you're going to be doing is you're just going to be studying, like getting to know all the components to put them together. We need to understand that AML and KYC, they are the risk management inside financial institution. You saw the terrorist attack was conducted it was sponsored or was funded via funds that came in through different financial institutions. So those financial institutions, there were lapses, okay, that the criminals or the terrorists capitalized on to perpetrate, to fund their activities. So now, these days, it's tighter, or the situations are better now compared to the way it used to be. So basically, AML and KYC, they are the risk management inside financial institution. So you see how important it is. And again, one other thing is why this field exists. Globally, it's 2 to 5% global GDP is estimated to be laundered annually. Like 2 to 5% of the global GDP is estimated to be laundered annually. Then the regulatory enforcement is rising. Now, regulatory bodies, they are beginning to enforce most of their policies. They are now with both sanctions, fines upon financial institutions. And when that happens, there are a lot of things that happen. There are reputational risk, there are financial fines that financial institutions they are beginning to receive now, and they are always huge and large. So now there's also, again, like the penalties, like I just said, penalties are also another issue that financial institutions are receiving. So moving forward, let's take a case scenario. Okay, let's take a case study. Remember how we spoke about a business being onboarded during the KYC? You asked what the business wants to be doing with the accounts that they are acquiring and how much. So in this case scenario, a business projected 50,000 monthly revenue. However, within 10 after 6 months of them projecting $50,000 monthly, after 6 months, within 10 days, this business moved $4.8 million. Okay, they moved $4.8 million. My question to you is, what's changed? So you can go ahead and drop your thoughts in the chat. Let me hear from you. What do you think? Let me hear from you guys. What do you think changed at this point in time? So these are some of the things that you encounter, you come across within within the financial institutions. So basically, what you're going to be checking at this point in time is you're looking at what did they say they want to be doing with this account, and what are they doing now? And okay, let me see the charts. Okay, so unknown income stream. So now you get, okay, yeah, someone said unknown income stream. So yeah, basically unknown income stream. So moving from 50K a month to 4.8 million, that's a lot of jump. So that calls for questioning. And this is where the critical investigator questions comes in. So that's where you start to think like an investigator. You ask yourself, what do we know about this customer? So basically, who is our customer? Then you ask yourself, what is the relationship between the counterparty? So meaning the third party, whosoever is sending in these funds, what is the relationship between the company and that individual? Can we establish a good relationship? Do they have good reputation? Do they have online presence? So these are questions you ask. Then you ask another question. What is the like these transactions? Do they make sense? What is the economic importance? You're checking what's the economic importance of these transactions that is moving very fast. Then you also ask yourself, what is the final disposition? How are they using these funds? What are they using it for? How are they selling it out? So there are more critical questions you would have to probe in order for you to understand what is actually going on. And these are some of the things we do inside of our program, where we pick up a case and we dismantle the case, ask all the relevant questions, and to think in a structured pattern. So moving forward, now let's talk about the industry reality. Institutions aren't struggling to hire. They are struggling to hire ready professionals. Okay, some person said they say they are ready, but when you look deep, they are really not ready. And that is why we came up with the AML Career Accelerator Program. So we introduced the AML Career Accelerator Program. The thing is that this is not theory-based AML education. It is hands-on AML workflow execution. So we are not teaching theories. No theories, basically. So it's hands-on AML workflow execution. So let me show you what makes our program stand out. First of all, our program is simulation-based training. So when I say simulation-based training, so we've been able to develop our systems or I could say systems or softwares that to replicate what financial institutions currently use in conducting their investigations, in reviewing alerts, in reviewing cases, in writing suspicious activities reports, which is SAR, or writing suspicious transaction reports, which is STRs, up to filling STROs reports and SAR reports amongst every other regulatory report. So it is hands-on. You're not trained as a student, you're trained as an analyst. You get to do the job. You do the job in groups, then you do it individually. You are assigned multiple cases upon multiple cases. What that does is that it gives you repetitions. You put in the reps. Once you put in the reps, then you can then replicate those repetitions on your resume. Like you can qualify them on your resume, and then when you're speaking to an interviewer, you're not speaking from a theoretical foundation. You're speaking from a practical. You're sharing your practical experiences because you've done this. Because sometimes some people have the base knowledge, and when it comes to interview, the interviewers, they understand, probably the hiring managers, they've been doing this thing for a long time, and they know the type of questions they would ask in order for them to know whether the person speaking knows what they are saying or not. So, but when you've actually done what they are asking you, you speak freely without any fear or rumbling. So that is one thing that makes us different. Then another thing we do is LinkedIn and branding optimization. We brand your LinkedIn. We create a personal branding for you. Work with you to create a personal branding. The truth is that you might be very good at what you do. You might be very sound structurally. You're good with analysis. You're good with case write-up. You're really good. But when there is no visibility, nobody will know about you. They won't know if you exist. And apart from visibility, positioning, you might be visible and not positioned properly. So that is something we've noticed with the market. There are people that are good, but they are not. They have the experience. They know these stuff, but their positioning is wrong. So we've mastered we've mastered that aspect, and that's why we lead with that. We position you, or optimize your LinkedIn. At the end of the day, you're coming out not just as an analyst, but you also have your personal branding intact within that training period, because there are going to be a lot of activities you're going to be doing outside of the AML training and all those things. So the LinkedIn aspect of things is just another beautiful part of things that we also do. So we also have the mock interviews and coaching. So the interviews, because we've seen we've engaged with several students, we've engaged with recruiters. So we know questions, like we are familiar with questions that are being asked, and what the students need to understand in order for them, how they need to speak, how they need to come, for the mindset, the framework they need to have to face an interview. So we have professionals who would work with you to position you properly. So these are some of the things that makes our program different, and we are proud of what we've done. If I could use that word, we are proud of what we've done, and yeah, and we're very proud of it. So the program is a 12 weeks program. We have live sections, we have simulation labs, simulations like I already explained, the case files. When you're done, there's a lot of documentations that will go on, and these are your documents. These are the things you can show, evidence to show that you've done all of these. Then career optimizations, where we get to bring in qualified career coaches that will speak to you on how you can best optimize your career, even when you get your first job, on how you can start preparing for the next job. Then mock interview preparations. We also work with you to prepare a good and outstanding resume. You get feedbacks on the resume preparations, the mock interviews, and again, like I explained before, the LinkedIn optimization strategy and personal branding. So these are some of the things that, because again, we do our best to under-promise and over-perform and over-deliver. So these are some of the things you would benefit in our accelerated program. So the 90 days roadmap, it's very simple. So it's just three phases. You go from foundation to application. Now, foundation, basically the foundation of what KYC AML, it's all about, everything you need to know that are relevant to you performing and getting a job. Okay, there are a lot of information out there, but we curate them to what you need to know, starting from foundation. Assuming you have zero knowledge about the topic, we take you from foundation, then the application, then you apply those things that you've learned from foundation, you apply them, then we take it to execution. So execution is where you execute. So then going from, so it doesn't matter where you're starting from. So these are the three phases of steps that you're going to be taking through. So now, what hiring managers are actually screening for, because our curriculum was developed by professionals. These are not theoreticians, professionals in the industry. So we used both the industry standard and regulatory standards. So hiring managers, basically, they are looking for structured thinking, risk awareness, documentation clarity, and escalation judgment, because this is what you're basically going to be doing on the job. Structured thinking. How do you assess a case? How do you assess an alert? A structured pattern of thinking. So, and these are the things you learn in our accelerator program. risk awareness. So are you aware of the different type of risks that are associated with the different type of cases, different type of scenarios? So these are the things that you will be exposed to, because we have different scenarios, like multiple cases that you're going to work on, that it will look like we've compressed more than 10 years. We compressed the experience of 10 years into a very short 90 days training, whereby you don't have to start going up and down, trying to master unnecessary things. You're focused on what is necessary and important. Then documentation clarity from the day one, you're taught how the framework on how to document. Then again, when you're exposed to risk awareness, you have a structured thinking, then you definitely would understand what escalation judgments is, what to escalate and what not to escalate. So these are the things that hiring managers are looking for. And by the time you're done, by the time you're done with the 90 days training, you would already have these things intact. You would already have these things intact. So going forward, I think I already mentioned this. By the end, you should have simulated KYC file. You will have onboarded, reviewed, and done a lot of KYC. Then EDD cases, alerts, review memo, and risk narrative sample. You would have done all these things by the time you're done with the 90 days. At this point in time, I would want to invite some of our alumni from NWC Northoka Consulting that have stayed with that. We've had opportunity of sharing our experience with, of taking our trainings, and then they are basically successful in their roles. For them to just share briefly with us what it was like for them when they were starting and where they are now, and anything they would just want to share. It's just more or less like, okay, just encouragement for those persons that are planning to get into the field. So I will hold my own thoughts there. So if we have Ade Dolapo on the call, can you please just unmute and talk to us and just briefly. Thank you and first of all, please let's cheer Dolapo up for taking out time today to join us. So can you please just talk to us, please?
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Dolapo basically, and it's nice meeting you all, basically. Hi everybody, nice to meet you. I'm Mavi, it's good to hear from you again. Yeah, it's been a very educative one, and I tell you, I remember when I first wanted to do the training, and I remember when one of my friends actually did the training with Mavis at first, and we were supposed to start together. But you know how you want to confirm everything to see, okay, let first person go, and then let me see how it goes. Then I'll know if I want to do it as well. So I pushed my friend to start first, and she did it first, and then she got a job. I think she got a job the next month after she finished the training. And I'm like, oh, wow, then it works. Because apparently both of us were never in the compliance or AML space or KYC. We had no idea. I, for one, came from a background of tourism development. I found myself in compliance right now, thanks to God, thanks to Mavis. Yes, so I would say that very importantly, I feel like it's very important to first of all make a decision that you want to actually be in the space. Because I think that's what would take you far. It's what will take you deeper. Like that's what will continue to push you. That yes, I've made my decisions. This is what I want to do. And before I started this training, to be honest, I've done 2 different trainings. I've done Scrum Master training and I've done one of project management. You know how we come into Canada and they tell you, okay, this one is the one selling. This one is the one selling. You know, you want to just up on those things and quickly grab it. So I was in that position for 3 years. And then last year, I decided to do the AML training. And I tell you, I got my job. I finished the training with Mavis April ending. I got my resume from Mavis, I think, May 5th, we concluded on, okay, this is the resume I'm going to be using. And as of June 13th, I got my offer from, I currently work with one of the babies of Sun Life. I mean, we just transitioned into Sun Life right now. So, just put your mind to it. I mean, just put your mind to it. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to achieve it, because the truth is, it's very much achievable. One of the things I would say that Mavis did for us, we were like 3 in the class at that time. One of the things I feel like he did very well for us, and one thing that kept me going, was at some point he told us to introduce ourselves, trying to build us in the confidence space of, when if you're introducing yourself to an interviewer, what would you sound like? Tell me how you'd, talk. What do you do? Tell me what you do, basically. And I remember how I was blabbing that day, and I was just going around things that I learned from him and all of that. And it was like, oh yeah, that's good. I wrote those things down. I noted it, and I'm like, okay, if Mavi says it's good, I will just brush up on these ones and I would do better. So eventually, when it was time for me to do my interviews, I tell you, none of my interviewers thought it was my first time. Yeah, I know there's a place of more preparation for yourself even after the training, because you don't want to leave that space immediately after the training. You want to grab it as soon as possible. So it means that you need to start applying as soon as possible, immediately. And that was one thing that helped me, just so that you don't get out of that mood of you are confident, you can do it, you've got it, and all of those things. So thanks to Mavis, thanks to NWC, thanks to I think Eva started with us with KYC. And once you get to the job, the reality is all these things are no big deals. They sound like big deals right now, but they are no big deals. They are things you can generally do. Like Mavis said, he said earlier that you have transferable skills. There's nothing you've done before that is not useful. They are very, very important, because at least those things would determine what would continue to push you to want to do more. Yes, you have some things to learn on the job, but the good thing is, with this current training, our time, there was really no training of, we wanted to do hands-on and things like that. Yeah, we had some of KYC's projects that we had to do and all of that, but I think this training even has more, this particular set has more build-ups on things, basically majorly because I'm sure Mavis had to upgrade based on our own experiences, and they are doing better this time. So I honestly recommend, because for me, it worked for me, and it's definitely going to work for you as well by God's grace. I believe God. So please and please, I recommend this. Mavis is a great teacher. Eva is a great teacher. They pushed us, and they would not even leave you at the point of interviewing. They're still following up. Oh, how is it going? How is it going? I mean, I'm almost 1 year on my job, and Mavis is still reaching out to me and asking me, how is it going? Is there any help you still need? Is there, all of those supports are things that will keep you running and, pushing along. I remember there was one time I was having challenges with name screening. I had to reach out to him that, okay, what am I supposed to do at this point? Thank God. Yeah, thank him that he was able to respond at the time I needed it. So also, because you don't want to be like, you don't want to show your colleagues that you're a novice, right? So you need that support. And yeah, Mavis always creates that environment of support that I'm still here for you. He reaches out. I mean, even when I don't remember to reach out, he still reaches out to follow up on, oh, how is it going? I hope you're comfortable. I hope you're doing better and all of those things. So I honestly recommend Mavis, and I recommend Eva. I recommend NWC. It works for me. It works for my friends. I mean, we are my friend group that has done this training now. We are like 4 of us now that has done this particular training. And I feel like if you do it, you put all the effort you need to put, a job is not a problem. Compliance space is very wide, very, very wide. There's almost every financial company right now is definitely finding a compliance person or AML, KYC. There's something they're looking for that you have, as far as you're able to take the training, and you want to position yourself by getting a training to be able to fit into what you have to do. Training will give you 100% confidence, I tell you, when it comes to interviewing. It will give you all the confidence that you need, because you would have done hands-on work. You would have done those hands-on that you are able to tell because you have done it. Like you are talking from a place of I have done it, not from a place of someone told me a story. or someone told me this is how I should say it, you get, because interviewers can definitely know. So if you do it yourself, it's easy for you to say, oh, I did this, I did this, I did that, I took, it's easier, it flows better because you've done it. So I honestly say, look into it. Come join us because our compliance space is very large. We want you to, we don't want everyone to, when the space is opened, why not? There's no competition in this world. Come join us. We want more people, especially our kind of people in these spaces where we are able to, show ourselves that we are not just, and like, we don't just do hands-on work, like carrying all those things. We can also do better in our lives. We can do great jobs like this. And it's very easy. I tell you, it's very easy. As far as you have researched anything online before, you can do compliance. It's not that difficult. You can do compliance. I am a compliance space, and I think that's why I'm talking more of the compliance space than the AML, but everything is intertwined. They all work hand in hand. I also do AML name screening on my job. Yeah, so I think that's basically it. Mavis, do you have any questions you would like me to answer?
No question at this point in time, but just want to say thank you for taking out time to join us this evening. And probably I know maybe one or two persons might have a question for you.
Sure.
Does anybody have any question for Dolapo before she drops off? Any questions at all?
Yes, can I ask a question?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Dolapo.
Yeah, sure.
Please, I would like to find out the first time you went for an interview, coming from an area where you have not worked, in compliance in an institution, financial institution, how you were able to, communicate during the interview as if you've been doing this, Is it based on the practice?
I know.
That's what I'm trying to,
Yeah, I
because
get your
sometimes
point.
they ask you, where did you work before or something? How
Okay.
did you go?
Yeah, so for me, my first interview, because my mouth was really wide. So I was applying for big roles. Like I wasn't even taking it from KYC. I wasn't doing those small, at least I wanted the big ones straight up. So the first role I interviewed for, I remember very well now, is a senior AML analyst role. And it was basically fully remote, all those attractions and things. The only challenge I had that maybe threw me off balance was basically because they were asking me for Python experience. I'm sure Mavis will remember this. They were asking me for those big things, like all those technical hands-on data science things that were more for a data analyst than compliance person, right? So it was a combination of that they wanted in one person, which I wasn't even looking at it. I didn't even think about it when I was applying. So I was just like, okay, any role I see, I apply. So that one was the only thing that really threw me off balance. And I'll tell you for a fact, one thing Mavis did for me a day before my supposed interview, it ran me through, it was asking me questions like an interviewer. So you saying those things over and over again to Mavis, like it keeps you in the space of, okay, it gives you a bit of a confidence. So at some point, Mavis even had to tell me that, oh, if you sound like this, if you are sure you are going to sound this way you sounded to me, you are going to get a job. So that already in me built a confidence, a level of confidence. I felt like anybody that is not like, that does not like me right now is the person's problem. So I went into that interview room, and even with the fact that I didn't know data science, at the point when the person asked me for a data science, I said, well, I don't have this experience, but I am willing and able to learn. And those are things that Mavis pulled me through a day before, that, okay, even when they push this one at you, be ready to, give them that punchline of you are willing to and open to learning quickly. So all those things, like going through it, the honest truth is, as far as you can follow up with Mavis, don't just do the training and just forget. When he reaches out to you, or when you have any interviews, you're reaching back to him and letting him know, oh, I have an interview. Can you please pull me through and all of that? It will go through the job description with you, go through the request of the office, like what they are requesting for, what you have, and it will help you, put it together in a way that it sounds better to the hearers. So those were things it did for me in my first interview, and throughout the interviews I did. I eventually did like, I think 4 interviews. Yeah, I did 4 interviews and I got 2 of the jobs, but I eventually chose 1 out of them. So basically, I think it's possible, it's doable.
Thank you. And I would take Adeyemi after this. Antonia, does that answer your question?
Yes, very well. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Dolapo.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so I will take Adeyemi after this. There's a question in the chat that is asking, what background do you need? So, Valentine, is this for Dolapo or okay? I think I will let Dolapo say something on this. Then I would also speak on this as well.
Okay.
He said, what background do you need? Do you need to have to get into this field?
Okay, so I would say
can
that
you share your background also?
Okay, my background, I'll start from my background. I have a undergraduate BSc in archaeology, master's in tourism, and then I came into Canada. I did customer service twice. While back home, I was an immigration officer, basically, and that's literally all I have done. And coming to Canada, I did customer service over and over again, and I was done with customer service. So I would say that there is really no specific background they would request for when it comes to this space. They want to see that you can do it. They want to see that you have an experience, like you can tell. Some even ask for 0 years of experience. Some don't even ask for the experience. But you just need to be able to convince your interviewer that you have. One of the key points I remember I used during my interviews was when growing up as a child, I lived in Nigeria where, there's a all of them know Nigeria is a high risk jurisdiction, right? Where, there's a lot of crime rates and all of that. So that's pushed my interest in wanting to be like a warrior against I wanted to be a warrior against crime, right? So that's what actually pushed my interest into the compliance space and the AML space, basically. So I wanted to be a fight against it, what we think is fraud and all of those things. So basically, just have those your punchline that gives you the confidence of I'm good to go. There's really no background that is specifically required. The only thing is you need to know what you're saying, and that's why you need a training to push you to what you're doing. Like, that's only thing that would basically let them know that you are able to convince them to show that you have the experience, you can do it, or you have at least the knowledge of it, basically. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that response. So I'm going to that part, and I'm also going to respond to that shortly. But let's hear from Adeyemi. Let's get your question.
Hi, thank you very much, Delapo. So I think for me, my own question is, how do you put your resume together to even get selected for an interview?
Oh,
Because honestly, I feel like the training is one thing. Reading is not a problem and everything, but I'm always a bit concerned for maybe people who don't have Canadian experience or people who just use, because I worked in the bank. I have like over 5 years experience in banking back home, 2 banks. And then when I'm applying with just my Nigerian experience, I feel like maybe that is not even getting my resume selected. So for me, it's first, how do you even get your resume selected? I feel like if I even have several interviews and maybe not scale through, it kind of builds confidence that at least you got the interviews. So how do you scale through that barrier?
Okay. So basically, during our time, I remember very well that Mavis helped us with our resumes. I don't know, Mavis, are you helping this time? Is it part of the package for this time?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
It's part
sure.
of the things we do.
Okay, so Mavis actually put together our resumes together, but one thing is sure, if you're putting an experience in your resume, you need to be able to defend it. So you need to have a level of knowledge, a very good level of knowledge in what you're saying. So during our time, Mavis helped us and is going to help you guys as well to put your resume together. And once he does that, it's going to put you out there. It will show that, okay, you have this experience. And for someone like you that has experience in banking in Nigeria, yours is just going to be a flyover, to be honest. I feel like you'll be more confident in talking about these things. But even though I had people that have, worked in banking in Nigeria and things like that, and, they are still, even me that just did one training in Canada, put me in a better space than them. So that's why I will always recommend, because I feel like things are different back home than the way it is here. So I still recommend you take the training. Mavis will help you prepare your resume, and then you can take it up from there. Your resume, as far as it's good and it puts all the necessary things that needs to be in the resume, is always there. It's always there. And the reality is, everything you find on that resume, there are things you would generally still find in your workplace that you'll be able to do even without so much, because they will train you. They will still train you on the job, basically. They'll still train you. So almost all those things, and we are very smart people. We are going to get it as soon as they train us. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dolapo.
You're welcome.
I think okay, somebody is asking, I think there are some other questions I would answer, but somebody is asking, are you comfortable to share the entry salary range? If you want to
Well,
share,
my own,
but
yeah, that's fine. My own entry rate was about, it depends on how you can convince them. Mine was about 75 to 90. That was the starting rate, but it depends on your role. It depends on the kind of role you're going for. I wanted nothing but compliance. I'm not sure if KYC pays that much, but I wanted nothing but compliance, basically.
the actual okay. So thank you very much for I thank you for sharing your range with us. Okay, yeah, and Brian is saying thank you. So thank you very much, Dolapo. I think there are other questions there, but I will just Dolapo is still around. So if we can just go to the chat and just tell Dolapo a big thank you for showing up this evening to join us in this conversation. Please let's make her feel. Let's appreciate her, please. So thank you very much, Jolapo. Jolapo is still around. And also, this time around, thank you very much, Jolapo. We will
Thank you.
connect
You're
after
welcome.
this.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so now let's hear from somebody else entirely from Jolapo. So let's hear a different story. So at this point in time, I would like to welcome yet another student, Isosa, to speak with us and just share briefly with us how his experience was like and his background and also what he does now. So if you're there, can you come up? Do we have ISO sound record? Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Thank you, Mr. Mavis, for putting me up tonight. It's been a very interesting webinar, and I'm grateful to be here once again. So I think I'll just take it back a little bit. It all started for me in February 27th, 2024, when I moved to Canada in December of 2020, and they wouldn't want me to share that here, but I'll start it. It was Mavis that picked me up from the airport. It's an elder brother. He was also my senior colleague back then in school in Nigeria. So I remember one of the things he said to me that day while we were driving to his place. He said, "This is what I do for a living." Oh. So when I came in as an international student, and I was studying health systems management at the time. And then he said, "This is what I'm doing." I said, "If this is what you are doing, please, when I'm done with school, I would love to learn." And he said, "Okay, no problem. When you're ready, just let me know." And at the time we came, because it's a full-time job, we don't have that opportunity of, working the job, because I think students were allowed limited hours to work. So which is why I said February 2027, because he told me initially in 2023, but I was done my second program in 2024. So I reached out um, February. He told me, okay, there's a training for February of the 2024, which I joined. And then with himself, the wife, they taught us for 3 weeks, twice in a week for 3 weeks, and then we're done. So I went back to school, and one of the things that Dolapo said is about having knowledge and everything. So when we were training at the time, I think it was teaching us about how we do our searches and all of that, and knowing fully well that Excel is a part of is a big part of what we do in terms of analyzing the risk and everything, and even the investigations and the transactions as well. So I had a course I was doing at the time, and it required me to study Excel. So because I knew that it's something that would be useful for me, after school in terms of this job, I had to pay attention and then learned as much as I could. And when I was done, I finished school August 2024, and then I got my first job with PwC in November 18, 2024. And I've been working with PwC as an AML analyst for a year and 3 months now. Worked on 2 projects, TD and Canadian Tire as well. So yeah, concerning the training, the whole thing about the training is just setting your mind to it, because like Dolakbo also said, when you come into Canada, they tell you this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do, these are the things that you can venture into. And I also want to let you guys know that one thing is certain. Just like I think almost 2-3 years ago, I also started this phase that we are in right now. As soon as you set your mind to it, there's nothing that is difficult in this space. At first, I had an interview section with Marvis at the time when I was preparing for my interview, and that was my first interview. When I started the interview, I was told the interview was going to last for 30 minutes. By the interview, I said this section was going to last for 30 minutes. But during the course of our training, he gave us possible interview questions and answers that we can use alongside. So I studied that for a while, and then he told us that what definitely what it tells the candidates is when you get a job, before you go for the interview, we'll have a session to refresh, and then you can go for the interview. So when we started the interview, we were done in like 10 minutes. So the interviewer said to me, that was all the questions that I have for you. Is there anything that you want to tell me? And we spent like the next 10 minutes just talking about situations. One of the situations that happened with TD that made them to recruit even more AMA analysts for the roles that we're also applying for at the time. So yeah, it's an open space. It's an interesting career, looking at the risk factors like Mavis earlier explained. You being given a task with a time frame to finish it, and just going through these things. I know for a fact that maybe the training process is that when you get to the job, it's like three weeks to a month, and after that, they call it shadowing. So you shadow someone, and then they take you through, and after that, you just start. And then one thing is certain here that I can say to anybody. As an international student, I paid about $40,000 for 2 years school. And then this training at the time, we did it for less than 2,000. And I can tell you that for like, I told you, a year and 3 months now that I've been working the AMA job, I've gotten like my tuition back. So, it's not about just we want to study and then we focus there. No, you can diversify and do whatsoever you want to do. And luckily for me, I've been working remotely for over a year now, and it also helps me to do other things. There are some jobs that don't even give you that chance to do every other thing. So yeah, that's all about it. It's an interesting career. As long as you put your mind to it, there's nothing There's nothing you cannot do. When I started, I remember the first day that I got into the office, and they're like, "This is what you have to do." You know, for a while, I've always been in the healthcare field, and then when I came into the office, and I was just seeing everybody working, I was like, "Are you sure you can do this?" And guess what? After like a week or two, you can give me a case right now, and I just look at it and I already know the disposition to give for that case. So it's been a lovely journey so far, and I encourage each and every one of us. Because this is just a webinar, if you can go ahead with the training, put your mind to it. Mavis is always there to guide and help you till you get a job. That's one thing that is certain. It helps. It definitely helps you to that stage, and also keeps in contact with each student in case maybe there's an offer or there's an opening. If you are interested, then it can also link you up with it. So I mean, it's the best place to be right now. So, and once again, thank you so much for not, what's the word? Some people, they have ideas or they have links to these things, but they keep it to themselves. And that's one thing that we hear that's common within the Nigerian circle. But like I said, even from the first day he picked me up from the office, he already told me this is what I do. And he told me that, when you are ready, I'll put you through. And today, that's what I'm doing. So once again, thank you, boss. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for taking out time to be with us this evening. We really appreciate it. And so, everyone, does anybody have any question for Isosa before he drops? Any question for him? I know we asked most of our questions. So does anybody have any question? Okay, so in the absence of no questions,
I have a question.
Oh, yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's to you directly. Yeah. Because I realize almost everybody here are in Canada. In the UK. Do you have the template for UK, about the UK? I don't know if you work with anyone in the UK who's got a job, Because I just want to know about the UK settings, if you are aware of how it goes in the UK,
Okay, yeah.
Isosa, do you want to say something to that? Because I believe you have some.
Because I recall there's a friend of mine who is also on this call, because I had to let him know about the webinar. I was in the UK last month, and then just applying randomly on LinkedIn for jobs, and very close to where I was staying, I think they call it a Canary Wharf in the UK. An organization reached out to me there, asking me if I'm ready to take up the offer as an AMA analyst. And the only thing that made me decline that offer was the fact that they wanted me to relocate to the UK, and they were also offering incentives. I wish I can share that with you. They were also offering incentives like relocation benefits and all of those things. But I told them, for now, no, I'm based in Canada and I want to be here. And he went ahead to say, okay, they also have offices in Dubai, and those ones you're able to work remotely. So that was like the person talking to me, and he said when there are offers that they don't need you to come to the office, say take for instance the UK like you mentioned, then if there are openings in like their Dubai office, then they will reach out to me. So yes, it's the same thing everywhere. Like I think if you see in the flyer that Mavis sometimes puts out there, it says UK, Canada, and Asia. I think there was someone who did the training with us at the time that was working with companies from Asia. So money laundering is the same thing everywhere. It just differs with, let's say, for instance, the softwares differs, but they all, do the same thing.
Sorry, another question, please, again. Sorry, okay. What was the entry level, the pay in the UK, like you said, since you're already aware of a bit about the UK, what was the maybe entry level pay?
Okay, no, they were not discussing it was not like an entry level. So it was basically they were telling me like what they pay annually, right? What they were going to pay annually. And it was between 100K to 120K US dollars.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, hi, Sasa. Please, what would you say are the 3 major softwares you use on a daily basis? Do you have what kind of software do you use on a daily?
Yeah.
Before just a sec, before you go ahead to answer that question, let me just quickly add to the UK question. So we have students from the UK. I think one of them should probably be on the call. Well, we couldn't get the rest of them because of the time difference to come on call to share their testimony. So we have students that have also gotten jobs in the UK as well. And for the funny thing is that, not the funny thing, the interesting thing is that even in the UK and the US, they pay way higher than what they pay in Canada. So I'll go ahead, as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, you asked the question about softwares.
Yes, what are the major softwares you use as an AML analyst on a daily basis? What are the softwares that we should be aware of?
Okay, so for me, I would say, like, because I've worked with TD and Canadian Tire, I think there's a particular software that both companies they use, which is watch check. So both companies use watch check. I've seen that. But for in TD, we have what they call SAS, but in Canadian Tire, we have Alexa. But those are softwares that they use an in-house software where you are able to, get the informations of the customer. And then especially when you are dealing with transactions and trying to, investigate transactions, for any place you find yourself, you should have a good knowledge of Excel, because Excel is needed. And then what else? It's not like a software, but it's just like an in-house communication, Microsoft Teams. So yes, but every other thing, it's peculiar to the company, right? It's peculiar to the company. Other than that, like I said, word check, SAS, Alexa, what do you call it? Oracle, SQL. Like here we use in Canadian Tire we use SQL, but in what's it called? And another one, I think I just recall that there's one they call thesis. So thesis, we use it both ways in TD and in Canadian Tire. So we use thesis. So yeah, I would say thesis, watch check, and then what's it called? Excel.
Okay.
So those are like the three that I know that they have similarities with different banking institutions.
Thank you very much. So what would you use for case management?
For the case management, again, it differs. Are you talking about the assessment of the case?
Yeah, like when an alert has been generated, right? And
Yes.
it's a suspicious transaction. You've proven that it's a suspicious transaction, and you need to open a case for it to generate a case so you can do further investigation. What software would you use for that? Is there and also Mavis, can one use Salesforce as a software for case management? If you can also help me with that.
Okay. So let me take it up from here. So you can use Salesforce. Salesforce can be used in like most can be used differently. So there are companies that use Salesforce as case management system. There are companies that also use Salesforce as CRM, customer relationship management. So they use it differently. Salesforce as a software. So then companies would then configure it to how they depending on what they want. So I myself have used Salesforce in two different projects I've worked on, because I work as a consultant with different companies. So I've used it with two different companies, and those times I used Salesforce, I use them to do two different things entirely. Okay, I use them to do two different things entirely. And yes, you can use Salesforce. So if you already have experience with Salesforce, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And can one also use Oracle for case management? I'm just wondering,
Oracle.
just in case they ask you a question, what are the softwares you use as an AML analyst? Would Salesforce and Oracle be a good example as softwares that I use as an AML analyst?
Yeah, so now Oracle also, I've also I used Oracle in when I was in I think I can mention that because that's more or less like in public because I used Oracle when I was in what was it called? When I was in Scotiabank. I used Oracle. So you can use Oracle as your case management system also. So one thing you should understand is that different companies have different softwares they use internally. So some company can be using Oracle for case management. Some company can be using Oracle for a different thing entirely. So, and that's one thing that we've done over the years in NWC. Again, those things will be introduced later on in the call to design something that simulates the exact type of systems that these financial institutions they use to train our students so that they learn on actual softwares, not just storytelling. So you mentioned Oracle. There are other systems like Actimize, NetSuite. Like there are many softwares. So if you're trained on one, or if you have experience with one, then it's the same logic. It's the same thought process, the same logic that you would also use in the other one. I hope that answer your question.
Thank you.
Hope that answer your question.
Yes, it does. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Mavis, and thank you.
Okay, yeah. So Isosa, before we let Isosa go, I think there's a question. Somebody is raising up around Joy. Do you have a question for Isosa?
I do have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, so this is in regards to the softwares that is being used for anti-money laundering and compliance. So do one have to get like trained in terms of like knowledge on how to do it, like take courses, like especially in terms of Python, in terms of like SAS, all of that? Do one have to get like trained, like do a course to add that to their resume? Or is it something that you don't necessarily need it, and once you interviewed, you can just learn it on the job? That's my first question.
Okay, thank you. So was that question for Isosa or for me? Isosa, I remember you mentioned something about SQL.
SQL. Yes,
Yeah,
SQL.
do you want to talk about, do you want to share like lightly? I know that most of working as a consultant, most of these things, they always tell you there's an extent at which you can go deep. So can you talk on that before I add to it?
Okay, so yeah, SQL, it's like it's a software that is used to generate like transactions, a customer's transaction over time. So you just have to put in like the account number of a customer, and then you put in the review periods that you have to look through, and then the SQL generates it for you. So like CTB uses SQL, but TD does not use SQL. So the functions that we are using it for currently is just to generate the bank statement of the customer.
Okay.
And then you asked
Thank
a
you very
question
much.
about, I think I had asked a question about if we have to put it on our resume. The truth is, I feel like for both projects I've worked on, you actually learn on the job because like Mavis has just stated, this softwares, they are specific to the banks. So they is an in-house software. They just tell you how to do it. When you hear me mention something about Alexa and the others, it's just like they are software where they assign cases to you to work on. And that's also where they have to monitor the cases that you've been assigned to work on.
Does that answer your question, Joe?
Yeah, that answers my question. The other question was for, I think it was for sorry, the first lady that spoke, I forgot her name. I don't know if she's still here. I wanted, yes, I wanted to ask question in terms of the compliance, like because I know she said she does some AML in the compliance. I wanted her to like talk more a little bit about like the type of compliance job she does itself. I think that was my question.
I think Dolapo has dropped. Dolapo, she's out. Dolapo has another business she's running, and we had to get her in for the time slot, but she has gone. She's not on the call now. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, no
Okay,
problem. It's just
so
like a question in terms of like, sorry, in terms of like, because I know there's AML, there's KYC, and sometimes online they always say compliance. So I wanted to kind of understand what the difference is in terms of just like, I don't know if you can answer it, like difference in terms of like compliance and then AML and also KYC.
okay, this is a very good question, and again, it's a very good question, and we are constrained with time. But however, let me touch on it, and because it will lead me to something else I'm going to introduce, which is because again, this thing that we've done today, going forward in March, we would be doing more of these, but again, just um, to break things down. So when we talk about compliance, I did a series before on compliance. So we talk about compliance. Compliance itself, it's a broad statement. So compliance, there are different pillars, up to about 6 different pillars of compliance. So financial crime regulation is just one pillar in compliance. Okay, because it is the part um, that employs, not, let me not use the word employ more, but because it is the part that is more popular, because there are a lot of, like, because it has to do with money laundering and onboarding and all those things, and do this with a lot of banking, fintechs, and stuff like that. So it's very popular, and the employment in that field is high. So that's why when we always hear of compliance, and people always mistake compliance for just AML. But compliance actually is wider than that. So we have compliance in financial crime regulation. We have compliance even in healthcare, environmental. We have the security and risk aspects when we are talking about cybersecurity. So we're still talking about compliance. So there is a broad aspect. So going forward, we would upload that section where I broke down compliance itself so that we can understand what the compliance is all about, and then we can then link it up to what we've done before and move on from there. So yeah, that's that. I guess that would be how I can best answer that question. Because if I'm to go into that, it's going to take a lot of time. So hope that answers your question, Joy.
Yes, it
So
does.
okay, thank you very much. So going forward, can we? I think I just have one more last person to speak, and then we should be wrapping it up already. Again, thank everyone for staying with us to this time. Can I have Tolu to come on and just speak to us briefly on our experience? Do I have Tolu on the call?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you
Hi.
for hi, Tolu. Welcome. Can you
Sure, no
just
problem.
talk
Good
to us
afternoon,
briefly?
everyone, or
Yeah,
good
go ahead.
evening. Okay.
Good evening.
Okay. Yeah. So, do I just go ahead and start talking, or do I get
Okay,
questions first?
okay, yeah. So, can you just introduce yourself? Give us a little bit about your experience, not deep interview experience, but like your experience, where you started from, where you are now, and what you're doing currently, and where you've been and what you're doing currently.
Oh, okay. First off, name is Tolulope. I've been in the AML industry for I think about going to 4 years now. I worked like multiple roles as an investigator, second level reviewer. Currently, I'm QA. That's what I do. That's my current experience. I've worked across a couple of banks, like almost all the big 5 banks in Canada. Okay, what was the other question?
Where you started? Where you started from? Like, did you have AML background when you were starting, and what was it like when you started?
Oh, no. So I had zero AML background. I used to work with the Internal Revenue Service in Lagos before coming here. So I had zero AML background. So what I was doing was tax, which sounds like is connected, but it's completely different. So I got in here and then they introduced me to AML and linked me up with Mr. Mavis. I got my training, and I can't say this story without making this very important part, because Mr. Mavis was very, very crucial to my success story from the beginning. Because I remember when I got my first interview notification, I was really freaking out, and I called him and was like, oh no, you know what, let's jump on a call. And after that, I remember very well, after that particular call, the conversation, I felt a lot calmer. And I felt like, okay, yes, I could do this, because I was concerned because I didn't have any prior background, But the conversation with him and then the training and then some practice questions. Actually, there were some questions he went through with me just, I think, a day before the interview. And for some reason, I was asked those same questions. I mean, not word for word, but something in that light. Yeah, so for someone coming from a zero AML background experience, he was able to help me boost my confidence. And I was able to get through the interview and essentially make my break into the AML industry. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what changed for me was the shift, with the training, was knowing AML KYC in theory, and then actually understanding how it works in real life banking situations, right? Because I worked on EDD, CDD, risk ratings, and all of that. So I was now at the beginning, all those words, they sounded like gibberish. But with the training and everything, it started to make more sense. And then obviously with my real life experience, it was pretty clear. Yeah. So also, I mean, for me, my biggest breakthrough was learning how to assess risk properly, detecting risk, just do a brief overview, just have a look at the case, all the facts you've been presented with, the KYC, the transaction information, and all of that. Before I even start writing up my review and everything, I just look at the facts that I've been presented with, and I'm able to assess the risk properly, and then I can proceed into documenting my thoughts. And also, what I always say is the most important thing I always say is if you're working as an investigator, you're doing transaction monitoring, you have to work on templates, write up a report and everything. I always advise that you write the report in a way that even someone who picks up this case that has no access to the bank system, that has no idea anything about the bank, once the person picks up the case investigation document should be able to explain itself. They should have an idea of what's going on, right? So you give out details, you give out the necessary details, focus on what matters, and expatiate on what is important. There's really no need to type a lot of unnecessary information in there. You focus on what matters and be very concise in passing your message across. So anyone who picks it up has an understanding, even without accessing the bank systems. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So now, I don't know if you're comfortable to share about your step from, again, you've already said you've moved on, so you're currently a QA. So what will you say got you your promotion to becoming a QA? Because we also have some individuals that are already in this space, but they are looking on how to move to the next level. So what would you say it's what made you got that position?
Okay. I started out as an investigator with transaction monitoring, as I said, and then I moved on into high risk. Then I went on to become a second level reviewer. Then I went to quality control and then quality assurance QA. So having worked as an investigator for a while, because I did that for the longest, it became pretty clear what was needed to be done. It became very clear, okay, we're doing high risk customers, what are the risk attributes and all of that. We focus, if it's EDD, we're doing EDD, periodic reviews, initial reviews, already knowing what to look out for. So like the more you work on these cases, the more you expand your knowledge base. And obviously everybody knows in AML is case by case, right? So it's not a one size fits all. It's always going to be case by case basis. But so the more you work on these cases, the more you do, the more experience you get. And I actually find it very interesting because there's always something to learn with a new case, right? Sometimes you can come across a case that is completely abstract from what you've done before. Like, okay, there was a particular case. I'll just give it as an example. There was a particular case from the surface level. It looked good. It looked fine. Nothing was wrong. But then further deep, something piqued my interest. Like, okay, hydro payments, they were a bit high. And I was wondering, why is I looked up the apartment online, like it's just a regular apartment. Why is this person paying so much in hydro? Then I started to investigate further and just, and then I discovered that the guy had multiple people making payments into his hydro accounts, which is weird. Why are people making payments into your hydro account? And then, further investigation revealed that the guy was actually growing cannabis in his house, which requires a lot of hydro because he's going to have to use electricity to power whatever he was using, and that was how it became a big thing and then escalated and then law enforcement got involved. So like having done something like that, it kind of like it sets up your antennas, like you are wired. And then you start seeing sometimes. So when you see a case, where you see a pattern that you've worked on before, you saw how it went. The moment you see something similar to that pattern in another case, you have an idea how the case might go. So doing all of that, and then from there, I just felt, okay, the next step is I've done this as an investigator. How about like I move up to the next stage, second level review, and start like maybe checking people's errors, because this is what I have been doing. I already have my solid experience. So checking out people's errors, and then correcting them, pointing out the errors to the investigators, so that essentially to minimize repetition of such errors, So I did that for a while and then eventually. So apparently there's a difference between QC, second level review, and QA, right? So second level review makes when the submission is done fresh, goes to second level reviewer, those make the initial corrections, that's when you have maybe put some comments and all of that. However, QA is completely different. The final edit, after all the corrections have been made, is gone through QC, it's gone through second level, then it comes to QA, right? QA is the final stop to be sure everything actually checks out, or to see one or two things that the second level reviewer or quality control might have missed.
Okay, thank you very much. So, what's your final parting words for our audience today?
Well, I don't really know how I'm going to structure this without using myself as an example. First of all, the most important thing is it's not impossible and it's not difficult. It just takes time. It takes time. The truth of the matter is, even having done AML for years and all of that, if you get into a new role, you will still have to I won't say struggle, but at least you will still need to give yourself some time to find your foot, because new roles, different organizations, you have to start learning how to use different systems all over and everything. So you pace yourself. There is no hard and fast rule. quality over quantity any day, anytime. Your quality should always speak for itself, right? It shouldn't just be about producing numbers. Let the quality of your work also speak. That will be my final parting word. As what's the word, like quality? Yeah, quality over quantity. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tolu. Does anybody have any question for Tolu before she drops off? Any question at all? For those persons looking to either transition or either to looking to get promoted. Yes. Okay. So Tolu, can you please answer this question before you go? There's a question. Somebody is asking where you currently work, and the other question is, do you need to have an industry recognized certification before landing a job? So can you please answer those questions?
Oh, okay. I currently work with TD, and do you need to have an industry recognized certification? The short answer is no. But
so did you get, sorry, before you go, did you have the certification before you land your own job?
No, I did not.
Okay, then go ahead, please.
So the short answer is no, you do not need it to get the job. But the moment you stabilize and you've been doing this 2-3 years, I would advise looking into getting the certification for growth, right? It will help you grow. But no, you don't need it to get your foot in the door. You don't need it to land a job.
Thank you. So yeah. I think that was clear. So any other question for Tolu before Tolu drops off? Okay. So in the absence of no other question, thank you very much, Tolu.
Sure, no problem.
For joining.
Okay.
And,
bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking that time to stay with us this evening. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. So now we've heard from three different persons that spoke on different aspects. So the reason we have everybody speak this way is that to show you people that just got in, people that have been inside, and people that have moved up the ranks. So we have a whole lot of other persons and a whole lot of reviews that we can't just share all of them now because it will be taking too much of our time. So you can see that our students, or if you put in your mind into it and learn these skills, you can stay on the job and begin to move from one level to another. You can actually grow your career from one level to another. And if people without finance background can do it, I don't see any reason why you cannot do it as well. So basically, that's what this is all about. So now let's talk about the investment, which is very important. So the investment is $3,000 with payment plan available. And if we have flexible payment plan, you have the opportunity to pay. Either you pay once, one time, or you pay twice, or you pay 3 times. So if you want to pay twice, you pay 60% upfront, then 40%. 40% later on, or if you want to pay 3 times, you pay 40%, 30%, 30%. Or you can feel free to contact us to discuss the plan that works best for you. So we are flexible with that. Then you can, if this sounds like what you would like to do, you would want to have a structured, you want to follow the structured part of getting into the feed. I would encourage you to join our next cohort by clicking on the link below. Click on the button below to get started with your application, and I'll be so glad to see you on the other side. And feel free to reach out to us. You can check us out on our websites. Check our websites out. Follow us on Instagram. It's @Networker Consulting. both on Instagram and on LinkedIn. You can also contact us via our websites. Our phone numbers and everything are in there. Feel free to reach out if you have any question. And I would like to say a very big thank you for joining this section. And we look forward to seeing you on the other side, seeing you in the courts, and wish you all the best in your pursuits in your career. Thank you very much. So does anybody have any question you want me to attend to? Any question, any last question that we've not touched? Okay. Someone is talking, but it seems like you're muted. Okay, somebody is saying if we've mentioned this, what are the exact dates the training runs for and how often it's please payment slide. How much does the training cost? Okay, I thought we've already copied that. Okay, let me take back the slide. Yeah, so this is the investment. This is what you get to pay, 3,000. That's the training cost. However, we have a flexible payment plan. So there's an option to pay once if you want to pay 3,000. There's an option to pay it twice, and there's also an option to pay 3 times. So this is it. So, and if you want to, and currently we have the links. We have the links in the chat currently. If you want to, if it's something you're interested to do, you can go ahead and use the link. And someone is asking when is it starting? So we're starting March 10. So we're starting March 10. In a year, we do our training 3 times a year. So we're starting March 10, and the next training will be in June, and the next training will be in September. So that's how we do our training. So we do closed sections and specific time. We have fixed time we do our training in a year. And it's usually Tuesdays and for this particular course, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. So it's evening because we understand that people are working and people need to spend time to work. And the interesting thing is that our trainings are always recorded. By the time we're done with the training, you get to go over and over and over again. And you get to practice, actual practice. You file the suspicious transaction report yourself. You conduct investigations. For onboarding, for KYC, you do the job that you're supposed to be doing. And when you come out, you're good to go. So I guess this answers the questions that I've been seeing on the chat. So any other question? Please put up the links. Yeah, the links are currently in the chat. The links are currently in the chat. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. When is the deadline to register for the March training? So the deadline to register for the March training would be 5 days. 5 days so that will be March 5th. So that's the deadline so that we can have enough time to onboard our students. However, you can always reach out to us and have conversations. So we can have conversation around that to see if that can be, if we can have any flexibility for late joiners.
Is there a phone number or like a WhatsApp that we can reach you? Is it just the website?
We can, okay, we're going to drop so the tech team, please, support team, please go ahead and drop the WhatsApp phone number that you can reach us with. So we have a WhatsApp phone number that you can reach us with. So they are going to be dropping that in the chat soon. And also subsequently, you will still be getting it has been dropped in the chat already. So you can reach us via that phone number, and if you want to discuss further, Someone said I had a question that wasn't answered. Please, what's the question? Fumilola. Please, can you drop the question again, or can you unmute so that we take the question?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Fumilola.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my question was, where do I indicate on my CV that I gained those experiences that will be taken through in the course of the training?
So that question is something that we usually answer during the training. But however, there's a solution to that. Okay, those are some of the in-house should I say trade secrets? But it's not a secret because we've had many students. But those are the things that we will work with you on to discuss how you got those training and how it can be reflected on both your resume and your social media. So it's something we definitely answer during the training.
Thank you very much. Just one other question. Yeah. Do I get to also indicate on my CV, or it's not done, that I've gone through a training as an accelerated program like this?
Okay, I would answer this one. Yes, it would be reflected. It will be reflected. So we have an in-house resume or CV team, people that specialize in designing resume that will work on it critically for you. Yes, it will be reflected.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm done.
You're welcome. So any other question before we call it a day? Any other question? So, okay. So just in case you have any questions, so with our phone number is displayed, the WhatsApp number is in the chat, so you can always message us and reach out to us. And I think with that being said, so I think we can call it a day here. But before we go, I just want to say a very big thank you for everyone for taking out time to join us this evening. I understand that there are 1,001 places that you could have been this evening, but you decided to stay with us. We are so grateful, and we do not take this for granted. So you will be getting messages from us after this call just to show our appreciations and share probably the recordings with you. And if you know anyone that you think would be interested in this knowledge, so you can feel free to share with them. And subsequently, we would also be inviting you guys to join our monthly webinar, monthly compliance sections, where we're not selling anything to you. We're not telling you to join any training, but we just want to discuss about compliance and different aspects of compliance so that you know what is out there for you. So once again, thank you very much, and I'm checking out. God bless.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
A great session. Informative.
Thank you very much, Siva. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marvis, for this session. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.